let's get into the offensive storylines. And we've already kind of hit on the quarterback and the running back, but I thought it was interesting to hear Marcus Satterfield say on Tuesday that Jeff Sims took 50 and even said 55% of the reps. Does that lead you to believe that Jeff Sims could be the starter this week?
Yeah. I mean, it could. He could. Of course he could, because Rule has said if he's healthy, he'll be the starter. Now, I just don't know if that's changed. I mean, it makes you wonder. Rule said that last week, that if Sims is 100%, he'll be with the ones. Now, again, the situation's changed. Sean, some of it will come down to how well is he moving, Sims. And then the other part, I thought the most interesting thing Satterfield said today was they're both going to play. I mean, they're both going to. Now, you could say, well, what did you expect? Well, to hear him say it means a lot. Now, how's that going to look? He indicated simultaneously that they'll both be on the field at times. I don't know what that's going to look like. Like, who's playing where, who's playing quarterback, and who's split out. I could see a situation where sometimes it's Haarberg taking a snap and Sims somewhere else, and sometimes where Sims taking a snap and Haarberg is somewhere else. And I don't mean on the sideline.
Mm-hmm. We've already seen Haarberg.
Yeah, we've seen that.
He's caught a pass in a game this season.
Yeah, against Minnesota.
I mean, he's run multiple routes. I mean,
but he's a quarterback.
That's in his repertoire. So, I mean, like, if he wanted to do these new wrinkles and find new ways to add more punch to your offense, that is very much already in the playbook, to where you could still roll with Sims at quarterback, that Haarberg could be under center, or he could be a skill position player somewhere else. So that gives you options. But I think just going back to how Rule has kind of responded to questions about this from the jump, he's insisted that Jeff Sims is their quarterback. And again, we don't know how much that has changed since Saturday.
Yeah.
If Sims is healthy, though, it would not surprise me if they give him the nod with an early rotation with Haarberg, though.
What did Rule say, though? It was interesting Saturday that we've got to play like we're a defensive-minded football team, meaning they've got to just build the right system to complement this defense, because it was their defense and the special teams Saturday that kind of set things up for that game to turn. Yeah. And then eventually, the way they play football wore down Northern Illinois. Now, can that work every week?
Can they? Yeah.
We saw the fullback, Barrett Liebentrep, played 9 snaps, but was outstanding. I mean, with the lead blocking, and, you know, how much of that is realistic against Michigan, though? Are they just going to eat that for lunch and just say, what is this? You know, we're like, this is easy to stop. We've got elite NFL players. We're going to blow this up every time. So, you know, it's going to be interesting how they build this, because I do think they want to keep building around this defense.
Which means what I hear when you say that is they just want to keep hammering it at people on the ground. That's the question. Can you still do that without Ramir Johnson, and mainly without Gabe Ervin, who is a hammer back? I mean, that's what he is, 6 foot 220, and he really wears on defenses. Now he's gone. I don't know what they're gonna. I don't know how that's gonna look.
Well, another thing with this quarterback discussion, who's going to play how much, is what we still need to see Jeff Sims do is take care of the football.
Yeah.
I mean, that could give you an answer very quickly. Oh, yeah. If he rolls out there and throws a pick or fumbles on the opening possession, it's Haarberg's show, in my opinion. And there's no going back after that.
Well, here's the deal. If Rule wanted to start Haarberg, all he would have to do is say, hey, guys, the variable, it came down to turnovers. Heinrich took care of the football. And
though he did lose a fumble.
Jeff had, he did. And Jeff didn't. Now, Rule, though, has pointed out, and we need to give voice to this because we haven't yet, Heinrich played a much easier opponent in a much easier situation. Sims went into 2 hostile environments. You can debate all you want how good Colorado and Minnesota are. They're not great teams, but those environments were hostile.
Or like at Nebraska, how could you not get up for that environment? I mean, the way the stadium was set up. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at the light show and the drone show. And I mean, if you're not excited and juiced up to play in that type of deal, and if that's about as good of a home field advantage as you're going to get.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was wonderful. So, and it was, let's face it, it was important.
And maybe they want to see Sims at home, see how he responds at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he comes out and looks much like the guy we thought he'd be at home.
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you thought he'd be. That's the thing. I mean, I think a lot of people were unconvinced that he was going to be different than the guy he was at Georgia Tech. The coaches had me pretty convinced he was going to be different. Now it's back to he's got to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to prove it now. I mean, because a lot of people are like, no, he's just a Georgia Tech guy that came in here with 30 touchdown passes and 27 picks. That's just who he is.
And another layer to this too, say Jeff Sims starts and doesn't even turn the ball over. What if he goes 3 and out? How's that crowd going to react? When Haarberg was announced as the starter on Saturday, the roar was notable. Like the crowd was all in.
It was Wyatt Mazur level.
Yes, Wyatt Mazur.
Wyatt Mazur. There's a name.
But like that's another element to it. Like we've seen when Nebraska can kind of eat its own a little bit, especially at the quarterback position. When a guy they've turned the page before the coaching staff, things can get uncomfortable a little bit there. So say they like what Sims does this week, he's healthy, they give him the nod. They better hope things go well for him to where that part of it can kind of go away right out of the bed. Because if he struggles early, turnovers or not, there's going to be some murmurs that will gradually build as long as the production doesn't happen.
Here's the other thing now. There's tape on Haarberg. So teams are going to make adjustments. They're going to study him.
Point.
Remember when there was no tape on Luke McCaffrey?
Yep.
He looked pretty dang good. Remember when there was tape on him, what Lovie Smith did to him?
Mm-hmm.
Probably had one of the worst quarterback performances we've ever seen at Nebraska in a long time against a bottom team with a coach that got fired that year.
Yep.
That 2020 McCaffrey performance was a perfect example. Like they beat Penn State. Everyone thought, oh, McCaffrey. And then he just looked awful the next week against Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be careful because these coaches make a lot of money in this league and they're going to make adjustments to Haarberg. And some of the things that were there for him this week, they're not going to be there against Michigan.
Yeah, and they make some money in Conference USA today, too. so Louisiana Tech will definitely have an advantage of seeing Haarberg on film.